Hello friends, and welcome to this new video. I hope you're all doing great. Have you missed me? I missed you. Today, we're diving into a profoundly important topic, setting personal boundaries. Often, we find it difficult to establish limits with others, whether at work, with friends, family, or even in our romantic relationships. We frequently face situations where we must either accept things as they are or sacrifice our personal comfort. Yet, if we want a balanced and healthy life, we need to learn how to set these boundaries both smartly and assertively. Before we begin, let me share something simple. Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting yourself. It's also a way to preserve the quality of your relationships. People won't know your limits unless you clearly communicate them. In this video, I'll explain how to define these boundaries, resist the urge to compromise them, and the importance of being honest about them without feeling guilty. Part 1. Why setting boundaries is important. Boundaries are more than just a line separating what you can tolerate from what you can't. They are essential for maintaining your mental and emotional health. When we don't set clear limits, we may allow others to overstep without even realizing it. Because we often strive to please others or fear their reactions, we sometimes find ourselves in situations that frustrate us or negatively impact our energy and well-being. Consider this practical example. Imagine that you constantly take on extra tasks at work or in your personal life just to avoid embarrassment, even if these tasks leave you exhausted or steal time from yourself. In such cases, you're not respecting your own needs, and consequently, you won't receive the respect you deserve. How can others truly respect you if you don't respect yourself first? Part 2. Understanding what you need to set strong boundaries and you. Establish effective boundaries. You first need to understand yourself deeply. Ask yourself, what bothers you? What drains your energy without any return? Do you feel stressed after interacting with certain people? Do you feel pressured by always prioritizing others' needs over your own? Answering these questions will help you gain a better understanding of your own needs and identify which areas require protection. Your boundaries might pertain to personal time. Do you need time away from work or social obligations to recharge? Define your personal time. Emotional energy. If certain interactions leave you emotionally exhausted, it might be time to reset your limits. Relationships. Are you giving yourself the respect and appreciation you deserve in your relationships? Commitments. Do you often find yourself agreeing to uncomfortable obligations? Learn to say no when necessary. Once you grasp these points, you can define your boundaries with much greater clarity. Part 3. How to communicate your boundaries to others. After clearly setting your boundaries in your own mind, the next step is to communicate them effectively. You can't expect people to know your limits unless you tell them. It's important to express your needs in a polite yet direct way, aiming for honesty without harshness. Here are a few examples. With friends, I appreciate your invitation, but I need some time for myself this week. I'd love to catch up later. At work, I understand you have a request, but I'm currently tied up with other projects. Could we schedule another time? With family, I need some time to think about this request. Let me review my position and get back to you. Remember, you don't have to give long explanations. A simple clarification of your needs is enough today on the show. We're diving into the world of economic indicators. These are the numbers that tell us how the economy is doing. Things like GDP, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence. But what do these indicators really mean? How are they calculated? And how should we interpret them? We'll break it all down for you, with the help of some experts, to make sense of the numbers that shape our world. Part 4. Learning to say no with confidence. One of the biggest challenges in setting boundaries is confidently saying no. You might fear that it comes off as impolite or might hurt someone's feelings. However, saying no is one of your most powerful tools for self-protection. When you say no respectfully, you honor both yourself and the other person. For example, If someone asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with, you can simply say, "I understand your request, but I can't help with that right now." Don't feel guilty for saying no. Remember, it's all about setting your personal limits, which is both natural and healthy. If you're enjoying this content so far and finding these insights valuable, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Your support not only motivates us, but also helps more people discover these important tips. Part 5. Dealing with people who cross your boundaries. The real challenge arises when someone begins to ignore or cross the boundaries you've set. This can be very frustrating. In these moments, you must be firm. If you feel that someone has overstepped, address it directly and calmly. For example, "I appreciate your willingness to help, but that's beyond what I can handle right now. I already mentioned that I need some personal time, yet you continue to disregard that. I need you to respect my limit." Sometimes, people may persist in challenging your boundaries. In such cases, muster the courage to be even more assertive, even if it means reevaluating the nature of your relationship with that person. Part 6. Boosting confidence. When enforcing your boundaries. Successfully enforcing your boundaries requires self-confidence. When you're confident in your decisions regarding your limits, others are more likely to respect them. This confidence stems from self-awareness and recognizing your own worth. By continually practicing boundary setting, you'll develop stronger skills in managing your interactions, ultimately learning how to balance caring for others and caring for yourself. Part 7. Reviewing and adjusting your boundaries. Keep in mind that your boundaries aren't set in stone. As you grow and change, so will your needs. What worked for you in the past might not suit you now. It's important to periodically review and adjust your limits in line with your evolving life circumstances. Consider your boundaries as flexible guidelines that can be modified to support your personal growth and changing needs. Part 8. Boundaries at work. Setting boundaries at work can be particularly challenging. You might feel compelled to take on extra tasks or meet your colleagues' and boss's requests to avoid rejection or embarrassment. Often, you end up handling responsibilities that aren't even yours, just to say yes. But boundaries in the workplace are crucial for maintaining your efficiency and protecting you from burnout. If you're always saying yes, you risk being overwhelmed, which not only affects the quality of your work, but also strains your relationships and mental health. If you're struggling to set work boundaries, consider these tips. Clarify your responsibilities. Be explicit with your colleagues and boss about what is and isn't part of your job. When asked for help, ask, "Is this part of my responsibility or is it an extra task?" Communicate with your boss. If your workload exceeds your capacity, speak up. You might say, "I need some additional time to focus on my current projects." Can we reprioritize? Practice time management. Allocate specific times for particular tasks and stick to them. Part 9. Boundaries in personal relationships. Setting boundaries in personal relationships can be one of the toughest challenges. Whether it's with your partner or close friends, we often hesitate to set limits for fear of hurting feelings or disappointing others. Yet, without clear boundaries, others may negatively influence you. In romantic relationships, for example, balancing your love for someone with respect for your own needs is essential. If your partner unintentionally crosses your limits, be it with your time or emotional space, it's important to communicate your feelings. Examples include defining personal time. "I need some time for myself today. Let's meet later." Respecting emotional space. "I need a moment to think about this issue before making a decision." Expressing your feelings clearly. "When you do that, I feel overlooked. Can we adjust that behavior?" Today on the show, we're diving into the world of economic indicators. These are the numbers that tell us how the economy is doing. Things like GDP, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence. But what do these indicators really mean? How are they calculated? And how should we interpret them? We'll break it all down for you with the help of some experts to make sense of the numbers that shape our world. Expressing your feelings clearly. "When you do that, I feel overlooked. Can we adjust that behavior?" Part 10. Boundaries with family. Family can be both a source of love and a source of pressure. Often, you might feel compelled to constantly meet family expectations, sacrificing your own comfort. Here are some strategies for setting healthy family boundaries. Clarify your needs. Don't hesitate to express your needs to family members. For example, I need some personal time this week due to work stress. I hope you understand. Maintain boundaries during gatherings. Holidays and family events can be especially pressuring. It's okay to say, I'd love to be with you all, but I also need some time alone with my immediate family. Recognize your right to rest. While it's important to be there for your family, you shouldn't feel obligated to meet every demand at the expense of your well-being. Learn to say no when necessary. Part 11. Boundaries in social life. Our social lives are full of interactions that sometimes compel us to do things or attend events that don't suit us, simply out of obligation or a desire to please others. Yet, social engagements should be enjoyable and balanced. When should you say no in social situations? Be honest about your plans. If a friend invites you to an event and you're not in the mood, simply say, "Thanks for the invite, but I'm busy." Prioritize your well-being. If certain activities leave you feeling drained or stressed, don't hesitate to opt out. Small decisions matter. Give yourself the space to choose activities that truly benefit you. And don't be afraid to decline when something isn't in your best interest. Part 12. Overcoming the feeling of guilt. Sometimes, setting boundaries comes with feelings of guilt or anxiety. Worrying that others might feel embarrassed or upset, you might feel selfish or that you're hurting someone. However, setting boundaries is a crucial part of self-care. Without them, you risk burnout and toxic relationships. Here are a few ways to overcome that guilt. Remember, boundaries are not selfish. You can't care for others if you don't first care for yourself. Setting boundaries protects your mental and emotional health. Replace guilt with confidence. Recognize that setting limits is an act of strength. The more confidently you say no, the better you'll be at making decisions that benefit you. Talk to trusted people. If you feel guilty after enforcing a boundary, speak with a close friend or counselor to help work through those emotions. Ultimately, setting boundaries is the key to a more balanced and mentally healthy life. When you clearly define what is acceptable and what isn't in your life, you empower yourself to live freely. Don't be afraid to assert your limits, because doing so not only protects you, but also improves the quality of your relationships. I hope this video has given you the tools you need to start applying boundaries in your life. Remember to stick to them and always stand up for your rights and needs. If you found this content helpful, please like, share it with anyone who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more tips and motivation on your journey toward a more balanced life. See you in the next video. If you need further details or additional examples, let me know. I'm happy to expand on any of these points. Today on the show, we're diving into the world of economic indicators. These are the numbers that tell us how the economy is doing. Things like GDP, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence. But what do these indicators really mean? How are they calculated? And how should we interpret them? We'll break it all down for you with the help of some experts to make sense of the numbers that shape our world.